Free Roku 4Ls with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Make this school year their strongest yet. Book your child's back to school or sports physical today at SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln. Keep them healthy, focused, and ready for success. Find out more by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hi, I'm Brett with Central Cremation Center. We're proudly offering pet cremation services to help keep your faithful companion close to you. Learn more about our pet services by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
You're finding Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning is Mrs. Jessica Patrick. She is the principal of Lincoln and Douglas Schools. Good to see you, Mrs. Patrick. How was your summer?
Good morning. It was a good one.
Good to hear. Thanks for coming out and talking with us. Now, are you rested and rejuvenated, ready to get back to school?
We are.
Yeah.
We are. We're still getting there. We still have some things to prepare, but there's a lot of positive energy that always comes with the school year. But I feel like this year that positive energy feels bigger.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know. I think we have a couple of new staff members that we're adding to the team. So sometimes that just a little bit of a refresh spices everything up a little bit. And you got new faces in the mix, new ideas and things like that. So that's always exciting.
Sure.
But I think it's just the newness of the year that is refreshing sometimes.
When do your teachers kind of start getting back in the building and getting classrooms ready?
It's pretty much an off and on process. I feel like every time I've been in the building over the summer, I've seen one or two teachers there. It slowly increases the closer the day comes. They'll be back officially on Monday, but those teachers work really hard over pretty much all of summer to get everything ready for our students.
Sure. I know you've got a few things coming up as we get ready for school. Now, your kids are back on the 20th. Is that right? And everybody's back?
We have kindergarten and first grade that come back on the 20th, Wednesday, and then our preschoolers join us on the 21st.
Okay. Gotcha. So what goes on between now and then? What do you have coming up?
I think the most important thing for me is since with our preschool, kindergarten, first graders, some of them, this is the first time they're coming to our buildings. So it's really important for them to get to know me, get to know some of our staff in a very casual, low stakes, no stress environment. So tonight we start our popsicles with the principals thing. So this is the third year I've done this. It's just a very family-friendly, simple event. I'm literally just hanging out on the playground with cooler popsicles.
There you go.
And we're at Lincoln tonight at 6:30 and Douglas tomorrow at 6:30. And it's just a good time for families to come. A lot of them are new students, but I'm hoping I see a lot of former students join us as well.
Yeah.
Play on the playground, meet some friends, meet some teachers, and then they come see us for the real deal next week.
Yeah. What kid and even adults don't like popsicles,
I
right?
mean, I think about 400 popsicles ready to go because it's not just the little maroons, it's family, it's older siblings, parents. Who doesn't love a popsicle?
Sure. Can they get in the building and do things that way yet?
The buildings will be closed off tonight. It'll just be the playgrounds because we're still prepping some things for next week. But on Monday, we have supply drop off. So that's when parents, students can come into the buildings, bring in all their supplies, meet the teacher, see the building and things like that.
Yeah. Now, are like teacher assignments, school supplies, are those out right now?
Oh, yeah. Those are all out. I try to get the school supply list out pretty early because I feel like stores start preparing around 4th of July.
Yeah.
So I try to get those out for parents, families as soon as possible. So that's out. Teacher assignments should be posted. We're almost there, ready to go.
No doubt. Very good. So day one of school right around the corner. And with the school supply list this year, anything unique or new on that folks should be aware of?
Not really.
I have to confess, this has really snuck up on me. And as you're talking, I realize I haven't done my school supply shopping yet. So
I'm obviously like a big just school person. I've always loved school. So especially as a mom, I love getting those lists and we go shopping, get all the things labeled. They're sitting in bags ready to go.
They're ready to roll. Sure. Well, as we get ready for school, Mrs. Patrick, you mentioned you've got popsicle night tonight and tomorrow. So folks can come out and see you and the teachers then. Anything else leading? You mentioned school or drop off is Monday.
Yeah, we have meet the teacher for kindergarten and first grade on Monday from 2 to 3. So families can come in, they meet the teacher. They usually have a big giant bag of supplies. So they start kind of unpacking all of those things so they don't have giant bags of things on the first day of school.
Mhm.
And then we also have preschool orientation next week as well before preschoolers join us.
Gotcha.
So just kind of slowly easing into it, getting everybody familiar with one another.
Yeah, and I as I think about the first day of school coming up, I'm gonna have to break in my young ones that we're gonna have to go to bed a little
Yep.
earlier. We're gonna have to make sure we're eating right and get
Yeah.
those vitamins taken.
I have a kindergartner coming with me this year, so it's a big change from preschool. But getting back into those routines, going back to using their school stomach, because those summer stomachs, when they're used to snacking all day, that's a big change from going to school.
Yep,
So.
sure. Well, let's talk or start that conversation, Mrs. Patrick, and preparing our kids for school, particularly the younger ones in your building, and how we just go about doing that.
I mean, we're pretty much prepared, and I tried to explain to families that for our preschoolers going into kindergarten, that's a huge transition. I would say out of all the transitions for us, that's probably the most challenging one, because for a lot of our kindergartners, they're either coming from home, and this is their first experience with school, or they've been in some kind of a half-day preschool program. So going full day, that's a long day for them. So I think sleep is probably the most important thing, making sure they're getting a good night of rest. And you're just kind of talking them through some of the things that they can expect.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I really like doing our camp kindergarten in April. They're able to come in and see the building, and I think that visual also helps them as well, and just get an idea of what the date looks like. But I think any way that you can prepare them for it, it's going to get everybody started off as great as possible.
Yeah. Well, let's start there, or let's speak there a little bit about that sleep component and just how important one sleep is.
Yeah.
How much sleep these little ones should be getting. That bedtime routine. How about some of that?
I mean, I think that varies from kiddo to kiddo, but I think trying to help them relax, wind down as early as possible. That's really important.
Yeah, definitely. How much sleep should a young kid that age
goodness.
get? Yeah, I don't know what it is anymore.
I don't even know, and I feel like both of my kids were so different.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm still thinking it's around 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and one of the things that is probably going to make them tired, at least initially in the year, is just the increase in mental and emotional stimulation they're going to experience in the school day. Speak to that.
It's probably a lot more social than a lot of them have been over the summer or in preschool. There's a lot more students than a lot of them had in our preschool classes, I know for sure. And then it is a lot of transitions. So they're there all day. Some kids are going from breakfast to the classroom. They have all the specials. So they're going from PE to music to art. They have lunch, they have recess, and they're doing reading and math, and we're doing social emotional lessons. So some of it might be familiar, but there's a lot of just new things coming their way. And that just takes a while for them to get used to.
Yeah, definitely. So do you anticipate, we get to the middle part of the day, towards the end of the day, and those kids they run out of energy. What does that look like?
They do. And our kindergarten teachers are rock stars. They pretty much know how this goes by now. So they build in breaks throughout the day, times for them to rest. Almost all of our classrooms have what we call a calm down corner. So if they need to go off to the corner of the room, there's usually fuzzy rugs and a blanket maybe, or some pillows and fidgets and things like that, and just a little space for them to decompress. But I feel like our teachers are pretty intentional with knowing that, okay, we need to hit pause for just a little bit, give them some time to breathe before we go on to the next thing.
What can parents be doing, this weekend, the first few days of next week, to get our kids ready for school next week?
There's definitely a couple different things. If they're coming with a cold lunch, helping them make sure that they know how to open. We do a lot of opening packages at lunch. I usually walk around with a little pair of scissors when I'm helping in the lunchroom.
I think my fourth grader still needs help with some of the packages.
Some of the packages are tricky though. Oh goodness. Tying shoes, that's something that we'll kind of tackle. Kindergarten, first grade, sometimes that's still a thing, tying shoes. We don't need to zip up coats yet, but that's always something on the list. Just making sure that they feel comfortable asking for help. We don't want our kindergartners coming in overwhelmed, not knowing how to ask for help with whatever it is that they need. They might just need help knowing where the bathroom is and navigating different things throughout the building, opening up their lockers. So our buildings aren't specifically designed for the little ones that we have in there. So sometimes just adjusting to how the building works and where things are, for sure. Just being comfortable asking any of the grownups around them for help. I would say that's the biggest thing.
Definitely. One thing you had touched on was the preschool to kindergarten jump. I guess, preparing kids for maybe that increase in emotional and mental stimulation? Can we be doing anything there?
Yeah, again, it's just the awareness, making them feel comfortable and talking to us about what they need. I feel like our preschool program that we have at Lincoln and Douglas does a great job of preparing them for that. And just because they're in the buildings, I think that also makes them a little more comfortable with the transition. They're seeing the kindergarten teachers, they're seeing the building itself. The preschools that we have around town also, I feel like, do a phenomenal job of preparing them as best as possible. But even going from just a 2-hour program to a full day for most of our kids, it's a huge jump.
I had Officer Mayer and Chief Flowers out here yesterday, and we were talking about the increase in traffic around the school buildings. I know your buildings are kind of uniquely situated.
Right.
Do you mind speaking to what parents can anticipate with those processes?
Yeah. Now that everything should be officially done in Skyward registration, parents can expect a welcome back email from me, and I kind of go through what arrival and dismissal looks like at each building, just how the drop-off, pickup procedures go, all of those things that for a lot of our families, that's really new information, but it's really important that we kind of check that out and we make sure where we're supposed to be dropping off with cars and where students need to wait for certain things. Because the two buildings are right in the middle of neighborhoods, we don't have some of the space that the other buildings in the district have. So just making sure that they aren't driving a certain road, that we have students walking in and things like that.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of walkers? And
we don't at Douglas. Sometimes that we do. Lincoln, I feel like we have a little more walkers, so we've tried to separate where our walkers are coming in and out and where our car riders are coming in and out, just to separate some of that congestion. Sometimes we still have to really be careful with, again, where we're driving and dropping off and picking up, because we still have kids walking in and out and around the building. Just taking their time. I think it's a lot of it, just also be patient. We've got, our staff that's learning new cars that are picking up and dropping off. Our priority for the first day is, honestly, my goal is just making sure everybody gets here safely and goes home safely on the right way. Everything else is a bonus, but that's our biggest priority, is making sure that we've got the transportation down. And that's as smooth as possible for everybody.
Sure. Now, do you still allow parents to kind of congregate right outside that one door where kids can come out and be picked up and then walk to the car?
Yeah, we've got a spot at Lincoln and Douglas. If they're walkers, that's what we call them. That they kind of park a little bit away from the building.
Yeah, sorry. In my perspective, there was Lincoln, because that's where I was at. So I forgot about Douglas.
No, it's okay. We kind of have to have a plan in place for what all modes of transportation looks like, just to make sure everybody is as safe as possible. So just a lot of it is just letting us know what the transportation plans are, and letting us know if there's any changes in those transportation plans, but then just being patient with us, because our office staff, teachers, our transportation, everybody's on the same page with making sure everybody's safe as possible.
Any other unique things come up with the start of school that maybe we don't always think about, whether it's who can pick up, or, making sure that, if mom or dad are out of town, grandma, grandpa are approved as a pickup person, things like that?
Yeah. So a lot of that's already in Skyward when they register. It asks for safe contacts and who's allowed to pick up and who's allowed to have access to their information and things like that. I think for us, it's just because this is the first time some of our families who are coming into the district, being patient with us as they learn our process, and vice versa, because we might have a policy in place that they aren't aware of, but a lot of our policies, almost all of them, that's designed with our students in mind. What's going to keep them safe? Safety is our biggest priority.
For sure. Very good. Well, Mrs. Patrick, again, remind us, you've got popsicles with the principal tonight, tomorrow. Just give us the times, the dates on all these things coming up.
Tonight and tomorrow at 6:30 to 7:30. So I'll be at Lincoln tonight on the playground, Douglas tomorrow night on the playground from 6:30 to 7:30. On the 18th, we have supply drop-off for K1 between 2 and 3. We also have preschool orientation coming up, and then we'll see our kindergarten first graders on the 20th, and our preschoolers join us on the 21st.
Very good. Well, Mrs. Patrick, let's take a break, come back with some more. Mrs. Jessica Patrick is the principal of Lincoln and Douglas schools in the Clinton School District. Our guest in studio. More to come with Mrs. Patrick on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. We start the day in the red with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. September corn opening 371 1/4, down 2 3/4. December corn down 394 1/4. March corn 412 1/4, down 2 3/4. September beans opening 10.16 3/4, down 7 1/4. November beans down 7, 10.37 1/4. January beans 10.56, down 6 3/4. September wheat opening 5.05, down 2 1/4. December wheat 5.25 3/4, down 2 1/2. March wheat 5.44 1/2, down 2 1/4. September bean meal 288.30, up $1.30. September bean oil is down 85 cents, 52.54. Opening numbers on this Thursday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
School is right around the corner. Let us help you get to class in style at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. We have a great savings on the entire Chevy lineup, from the economic Trailblazer and Trax to the upscale Silverado or Tahoe. We have you covered. Our used and certified pre-owned cars are getting straight A's also. This school year, see all our inventory online. Chevrolet, together let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
When it comes to finding primary care, you can be seen at any doctor's office, but at Memorial Care, you're not just seen, you're heard. Our primary care team takes the time to listen to you, building a lasting relationship based on transparency and trust. So when you notice a change in your health, you've got a team that's ready to advocate for what you need. Memorial Care, real connections. Learn more at memorial.health/primary care.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio is Mrs. Jessica Patrick. She is the principal of Lincoln and Douglas schools in the Clinton School District. And Mrs. Patrick, as we start to get back to school, let's talk maybe some curriculum things. What's going to be going on in your buildings this year?
Really excited for all the curriculum things. So last year, our kindergarten and first grade teachers piloted a new phonics curriculum. This year, it's full-wide implementation. I saw a lot of great things come from that pilot. And then we're also adding a new reading curriculum that will kind of be done in conjunction with that. And that's full on everybody this year, not a pilot. So books have been arriving. All the things are coming together. So it's a little bit scary at the same time because it's a change. It's a shift. Again, teachers are doing what they do and they're jumping in and they're making it work. And
teachers probably like a lot of everybody else, creatures of habit.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
So you throw in something new. It's a little scary at first, and I completely understand it, but I have 100% faith in them that we'll figure it out together.
Sure. You were telling me, Mrs. Patrick, SEL going to be a big focus this year as well. What's going on there?
Yeah. So our social emotional learning, that's always it's right up there with reading and math for our students. You can't teach reading and math without teaching them also how to regulate their emotions and talk through some things. Those are just necessary life skills that they're always going to need, just like reading and math. So that's built into our schedule. We have daily morning meetings. And we have different SEL topics. Each of the classrooms have SEL libraries. So they've got picture books for just about every emotional topic that you could think of. We are doing our One Book, One School this month, which is one of my probably absolute favorite things that we're doing.
What's that?
So it's how I connect home and school, and I'm all things picture books. I feel like you can get a picture book and teach just about anything that you can think of. It's a great way to take a heavy topic like showing gratitude or compassion, friendship, and things like that. Those really complex topics, but it makes it more accessible when you're showing it through a picture book. And it's also very interesting for our students. So every month we have a different SEL theme. And we talk about it from our morning announcements. They talk about morning meetings. We talk about all month. And we have one book, like kind of think one mentor text that explains this topic that they read in the classroom. And then at the end of the month, they get to take this book home. So by the end of the year, they will have 9 books in this little like SEL library that belongs to them. But then I also send out in my monthly newsletter to families, here are things that you can discuss while you're reading this book with your child. And it's a great way to connect what we're doing at home or at school and then reinforce that at home too. But that becomes what the student knows. They're hearing it all the time.
And I venture a guess like social emotional learning is probably most challenging at your age group.
Just because sometimes it's the first time they're hearing some of these things. I'm sure they're hearing these things at home. But when you have a classroom of 20 students, you really have to be able to talk through emotions and things like that, because it's not just one-on-one attention with grown-ups at home and things like that. So they have a lot of little ones that they're looking out for. So they have to be able to talk through some of their emotions.
You know, I wanted to have you say this or address this as you were talking there. It came to my mind. How important is the home life for a child, particularly like that parental involvement, you know, just whether it's reading, whether it's discussing their feelings like you're talking about there. Speak to the importance of that.
I mean, that's really going to make the biggest difference. There's so much research around it. What if parents can reinforce at home what we're doing at school, that's a game changer for us. It really is. And I feel like our teachers do a great job of sending things home and here's what we're doing and here's how you can help. And again, we start that way back in April with Camp Kindergarten, and we put folders together and we just kind of explain, here are some things that they will be working on in kindergarten. And we send them home with the whole, like the book bag of camping gear that we called it, with a whiteboard and letter magnets and number magnets. And here's how you can use Unifix cubes. And I explained to our parents, here are ways that you can do this at home in a fun way, because I don't want the students to come home and go through another 8 hours of school.
Right.
But if they can play a small game with them that's reinforcing the skills that we're teaching at school, I mean, that's magic.
Are you finding most kids are coming to school with, you know, those activities they've done over the summer?
Sometimes, yeah. And again, with kindergarten, we don't expect it. That's what kindergarten is for. But it's always beneficial when they come in a little more prepared.
Yeah, sure. Very good. Well, Mrs. Patrick, anything on the new school year we haven't touched on yet you want to put out there here this morning?
I mean, you're well aware we talked about our restructuring plans last year that started at board meeting conversations last year. So that's still conversations that have been happening. We've got a monthly restructuring committee meeting where we're talking about all the things that need to happen to make that tentative plan reality. So it's very much just busy.
Remind us what's going on there.
So the tentative plan is for next school year to designate Lincoln as the K-1 building and Douglas as the preschool building. And that solves a lot of issues that we've been seeing over the last few years. And I think parents have also started to realize some of the things behind the rationale for this, because
which are?
It eliminates the boundary line between Douglas and Lincoln. So we have a little more flexibility with where our students go. Right now, it's very difficult to balance class sizes with that boundary line right there. It also makes our programming a little more equitable. It also allows us to expand to preschool, which was one of the long-term goals, is to expand our preschool programming. That's a huge community need to be able to get more spots open for preschool.
Why is preschool limited the way it is?
Our preschool is funded through a grant called Preschool for All, and that gives us a capacity on how many students that we can take into the program per class. But if we're able to add more classes, we can add more spots. And then that means that we have more students coming into preschool and then going into our kindergarten program.
Gotcha. So what is kind of at the forefront of that committee's agenda right now?
So right now, the biggest concern, the biggest thing that we wanted to tackle was, what would this look like facility-wise at Lincoln if this becomes the K-1 building? So we're drawing out tentative maps. We did a walkthrough the other day of what are the possibilities for this space and how would it be best utilized as a K-1 building.
Sure.
So that way we can start moving past, could this work, into, now we know this can work, and what does that specifically look like? So just starting to nail down some of the specifics is where we're at right now.
There you go. Well, Mrs. Patrick, I look at the clock. I've got to let you go for the day. A final thoughts as we wrap up here this morning?
We're just really excited to see our students.
All right. They go back on the 20th and 21st, correct?
Correct.
Stop out and get a popsicle tonight, right?
Exactly.
Yes, very good. Mrs. Patrick, always good to see you. Enjoy the new school year.
All right, thanks.
Yep, Mrs. Jessica Patrick is the principal of Lincoln and Douglas Schools, our guest in studio. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Of course, we stream live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com. And if you miss any of our morning programming, just check out Facebook and our YouTube channel we just discussed. You can find all our interviews and morning show content there. The network news comes your way next on the morning show.
WHOW.